We have a kid that just signed with PVC also, El Güerito de Tepito. He's going to be 16 by that time, so he'll be doing his debut over there also. So those two are the ones for now that I kind of know that they're working on it.
Gotcha. So, Coach, I do want to transition to this fight that's coming up in a week and a half. It's the biggest fight in the sport currently, and definitely want to get your take on it because I love to hear what trainers have to say in regards to fights like this. And I'm talking about the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford fight. Uh, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, I've seen people on one side, I've seen people on the other side. Some people feel that the size would be way too much for Crawford. Other people feel that the skill set of Crawford would be too much for Canelo. What's your thoughts?
Well, in my opinion, I think it's a very tricky fight. You know, a guy that's going two divisions up to fight a guy that's heavier and stronger. And a lot of people are saying that that Crawford, has a better footwork and his IQ is better and this and that. But you guys got to look at that both of them been into a lot of wars, and I think they're wear and tear is the same, to be honest with you. Because Crawford has been in some fights. His last fight, he didn't look that good, in my opinion. He beat
Yeah.
the guy, but he was having a little troubles, and then he got hit a couple of times. So imagine if Canelo, in between those punches, he throw something like that. I think he can hurt Terence Crawford because of the weight. That's what I think. But at the end of the day, it's a tricky fight. I think I see Terence Crawford winning by points, and if he doesn't win by points, I think I see Canelo stopping him. If Terence Crawford gets a little bit tired with that extra weight and all that, he's not used to fighting at that weight. So Canelo's been there before. So like I said, I see Terence Crawford winning by points, and if he gets tired, I think Canelo can stop him.
Tell me a little bit more about the weight because I've argued about the weight and putting weight on, and I've made the argument that your cardiovascular system, your heart, your lungs, your veins, they're all the same size no matter how much weight you put on. So with that extra weight, I expect a dip in performance in terms of endurance. Do you see it the same way? Do you see it similar?
Well, you see a lot of fighters, that when they go up, the power goes away, the footwork goes away, and that's what I've seen through these years. That they're not the same fighters fighting at the way that they feel comfortable. That's why they say, "I feel good at this weight." I don't
Mhm.
think Terence Crawford is gonna feel good in two weight divisions. Maybe one, it's okay, but Crawford has a small frame. Crawford had to put all that weight in there to fight Canelo. Does it make sense? Why didn't
Yeah.
Canelo want to fight David Benavidez? Because he said that he would be heavier, 25 pounds, and that's why he didn't want to fight him. So here it doesn't matter how many pounds is Canelo over, right? So at the end of the day, I think when fighters say I feel good at this weight, is because they go one division up and they feel good. Two divisions, I think it's a little bit too much.
You've you trained your son to fight Crawford several years ago, right? Jose Benavidez?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I trained him, and that was one of the big, most exciting fights of Terence Crawford. It was a great fight.
It
Leading to
was.
the fight, it was a lot of it was the promotion and everything was great. And I take my hat off to Crawford. He did what he had to do. My son was fighting with one leg, and he still, I was more concerned about him. Falling or something happening to the leg, but it
Yeah.
was a great fight. He won fair and square, and my respects, but it was a great fight.
So someone who has scouted Terrence Crawford, do you see the level of, because they say he's different. Do you see that in him, that he's a generational talent above and beyond what we've seen in the past, or at least somewhere up there with the Ilees, the Floyds, the Sugar Ray Leonards, things of that nature?
Well, I'm gonna give him his respects. At the end of the day, he's an undefeated fighter. He's done what he's done, and I'm not gonna take that away or talk bad about that.
Yeah.
Uh, we'll see when he beats Canelo. Does it make
Yeah.
sense? So if he beats Canelo, that'll be like whoa. A lot of people are gonna be surprised.
Yeah.
And if he loses, people are gonna say we knew that he was gonna lose because of the weight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, my respects. whoever wins, it's a tricky fight. We're gonna see how they look as long as we get entertained and they both fight and give us what we want to see. It will be good. But if it's a Tom and Jerry fight, I think both of them are gonna lose a lot of fans.
I agree. Let me ask you: would you guys consider fighting the winner?
You know what? To be honest, a lot of people were asking me, David Benavidez against Terence. Come on, bro. To me, that's embarrassing, bro. Uh, you know, I want to fight guys that are big, guys that are
Yeah,
dangerous. So at the end of the day, I'm not even interested in fighting Canelo right now. I don't think he's at that point. I think the wear and tear has got to him. And I think with David would destroy him. To be honest with you,
I don't
and
disagree.
me, and everybody knows that Canelo will never face David Benavidez, and he understands that he can get hurt. So, at the end of the day, I just try not to mention Canelo anymore. I just try to stay away because, to me, it's not realistic. It's never going to happen. So why even talk about that or stay focus on that?
Yeah. Last question. I do want to ask you about this particular fight because it's on the card. Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney. Just curious about your thoughts on that fight.
Well, that's another great fight. We got two guys that got to prove themselves. David Haney. Lost to Garcia, kind of bad, and they found out that Garcia was using steroids or whatever that is. So I think he has a chance to prove himself. On his last fight, David Haney was moving a little bit too much. I think the confidence was away a little bit.
Yeah.
But now, I think he should do good. Yeah, and both of those fighters, I like them, and it's a tough fight for both of them. And that's going to be an entertaining fight. It's an honor to be fighting on the same card as they're fighting. We're
Yeah.
fighting.
My last question. I'm going to let you get out of here, Coach. David, would he ever consider? Because I heard you say cruiserweight. Would he consider heavyweight?
Yeah, the plan is, fight 2, 3 fights at 175, go up to cruiserweight and fight Sudo Ramirez. That was the plan, and maybe face Apetaya at that weight also. And
Okay.
see how we do, come back to 175, and or if not, but I'm thinking more like when he's maybe like 30, 33s, 32s, maybe go to heavyweight and see how that goes.
Awesome. Coach, hey, it is always a pleasure to have you on the platform. I'm so appreciative of it. And, hey, you're always welcome.
Thank you, buddy. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye bye.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.